Hey everyone, Christian here. If you've ever worked in ArchViz, you know the moment your client suddenly sends a product reference they want featured in the scene. But you've only got a few hours to deliver. In this video, I show you how I use PromeAI to quickly generate 3D models from product photos. Drop them into my scene, scale them based on real dimensions, and render everything fast. Then we'll take it a step further by using Krea AI or Magnific AI to refine the final render and give it that extra polish. This technique has saved me more than once, and it might save you on your next deadline too. So the first thing that I want to show you is the actual scene where we had to add these products. And they were actually these three that you can see right here on the middle, and they are a little bit detailed. And another thing that I want to mention is that our client needed these in a hurry. So we realized that we were not going to be able to produce these three products in just a few hours. So what we did was use AI for it. But before we jump into that, I would also like to show you the actual products that he was requesting. So this was one of them, which is a coffee machine. But again, it's a little bit detailed. And actually more than the detail, we were thinking that adding all of these materials would take a little bit of time, especially because we had to model 3 of them. This was the other one. Alright, so this one wasn't that detailed, but again, we had to deal with the creation of the materials. And the last one was this one right here. So we have a coffee machine, we have a water dispenser, and also a milk cooler. So what we did is go to PromeAI, and here in PromeAI, we went to AI tools. If you want to know more about the sketch rendering or AI image generator, you can go to our last video. But the one that we needed at that moment was AI 3D model generator. So you can click on here, and the good thing about this is that generating these models would only take us 1 point, which is great. So once you are in here, the first thing that you have to make sure of is that your image has a clear background. And also it's important to have it in a perspective way, meaning that we need to see the front and lateral sides. So let me go back to this one. In this case, we can't really download this image. So you can go ahead and use the snipping tool. Now just hit on new and select this specific area of the product that you need a 3D model of. So in this case, just save it anywhere on your computer. And once you have it saved, go back to PromeAI and click on this positive icon right here. Just click on upload image, select the photo, and as you can see, it's a very clear image of what I need. We don't have any background and all of the details are very clear. Next, just click on generate and wait for a couple of seconds. In the meantime, we can go ahead and check out the water dispenser. And in this case, we are not going to be able to use this photo because we have multiple products on it, which will just confuse the AI. So try and find something like this. And again, make sure that we have it as a perspective where we can see the front and lateral view. This way, the AI will have a pretty good idea of the length of the model that we are trying to get. In this case, if I try to save it, I'm not going to be able to save it as JPEG or PNG, which are the supported formats in PromeAI. So again, just go ahead and use the snipping tool and grab it like this. Save it anywhere on your PC, and we can go back to PromeAI and click on this positive icon again, select your photo and generate for just 1 point. And okay, we've got the coffee machine right here. As you can see, it looks very, very good. So let's download it by going up here and download 3D model. And it's gonna be downloaded as a zip file. So right click, go into WinRAR in my case and extract here. Now this is very important. It's going to be downloaded as an OBJ, which is great because OBJ works with most software. Another thing that you're going to be wanting to have is the actual dimensions of the product. And you'll be able to find it pretty easily on the website of the product. In this case, if I go down here, I'll find the dimensions, which are these. So it's 580 millimeters in height with 600 millimeters in length. And the software that I use for architectural visualization is 3ds Max. So let me go there. This is the actual scene from the cafeteria that I was working in. And before we import that product, what I need to create is a reference object with the dimensions. So let me just create a box like so. Let's go into the modifier tab. And in length, we had 600 millimeters, so mm for 60 centimeters. And the height, it was 500 mm again, which is 50 centimeters. And let's go back and see the width, which is 430 millimeters. And actually we had 580 on the height, so let's go back and fix that. So 58, and the width is just 43. And there we go. Now let's go ahead and import it. So File, import and import again, and here it is. Now if you're using SketchUp or Rhino or whichever software is your favorite for architectural visualization, OBJ is gonna work just fine. I'm just gonna click on import because all of these settings are okay. And here's our coffee machine. Now what we need to do is to scale it properly. So let me find the box that we just created, which is this one, and isolate both of these objects. I'm gonna just drag this guy over here and scale it up like so. Okay, now let's just drag it over here so that it's right next to our box and we can see that it's a bit bigger. So let's reduce it. And as you can see, the AI also got the dimensions perfect. And also we don't have to worry about the UVW mapping or the creation of materials, as this is looking just great. So it's pretty much ready for me to just place it where it should be. So I'm going to unhide everything, go to the top view and press F3 now to see all of my interior objects. And the coffee machine, it's gonna go right here on top of my counter. So let me isolate all of these so that you guys can see it properly. I'm going to go into an orthographic view to place it correctly. Just drag it all the way over here. And there we go. And it's an editable mesh. So if I want to delete something, for example, these two artifacts that I'm not sure why it placed them there, but in 3ds Max, I can just go ahead and convert it to an editable poly and grab these two pieces and probably just delete them, like so. So if you don't like something from the 3D model, you can just go ahead and delete it. But if you want to refine the overall 3D model, that's gonna be a little bit hard. But as you can see, this is more than enough. And if I go back to PromeAI and check out our other 3D model, we've got it right here and it's looking great. And you can follow the same process. So you can go back to your 3D software, create a reference box with the actual dimensions of the product, and then scale it accordingly. But again, you must make sure that you have this type of perspective from the photo of the object that you want. And it's not gonna work for every 3D model. For example, if I go back here, I actually tried something funny, which was to create some dried flowers like these, but they don't look good at all. That was a little bit of a long shot. I've also created this type of bowls, which wouldn't take me that much time to model, but in the long run, it will save you a lot of time. So these bowls were actually these, and they look spectacular right there. I also followed the same process when I created all of these elements at the back. So now the only thing left to do is to render this object. Okay, so here's our coffee machine right on the center. And what I'm going to do is just to create a quick render. So it's just going to be 1000 by 750 with a noise level limit of 8%. So this is not going to take long at all. Let's just click on render and wait a bit. So here it is, and our coffee machine looks great. But because we didn't render it at high quality, I'm just going to use Magnific AI to bring in some more details. So I'm going to go ahead and save this image and head out to Magnific AI. If you don't have a subscription to it, you can also go ahead and use Krea AI. So once we're in here, let's go into the Magnific upscaler, and we're going to be uploading our image, which is going to be this one. Now I found out that we get the best result when we change this optimization tool from standard to films and photography. We don't really need a prompt right now, so we're just gonna leave it empty. We don't want to change anything from the design because our client is not gonna be happy about it. So what we need to do is to change the engine from automatic to Magnific Sharpie. As for the creativity level, we can leave it at 1. HDR is gonna give us more detail, so let's bring it up to 1. So very subtle settings so that we don't have any changes on the design. We also need to maintain the resemblance of the overall image, so let's keep it at 1. Fractality is only going to protect our image from having any errors, but because our settings are very low, we can leave this at 0. Use fractality when you go a little bit crazy with, for example, the creativity at level 7 or 8, then you would have to lower this around -3 to avoid any errors on the image. But for now, let's keep it everything at 1 and fractality at 0. And Magnific Sharpie is not going to play around with anything from our visual, but if you wanted to add something crazy on your image, you can go ahead and pick the Magnific Illusion. Alright, but for now, again, let's keep it at Sharpie and hit on the upscale button. And here's the before and after. Just check out our coffee machine. It is looking great. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that this is not going to work for products that are on our foreground or very close to our camera. Because if I go back and check out our coffee machine, you'll see that there are some errors on it. Let me ungroup this and pick it and isolate it. So many things are not totally perfect, but it is gonna save you multiple times. Alright, that's a quick look at how I've been integrating PromeAI and tools like Krea or Magnific into my ArchViz workflow. It's not about replacing traditional modeling, but about speeding things up when time's tight, especially with those last-minute client requests. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you want more workflow breakdowns like this. See you in the next one.